Video games and movies are obviously very different. Yeah, I'm always fascinated by their similarities, the aspects that they borrow from each other and interpret in their own unique way. Take cinematography, an art form that is uniquely suited to, well, cinema. Cinematography is all about controlling, positioning, framing, the movement of characters, everything the audience sees in front of the camera. In other words, cinematographers govern what visual information the viewers see as well as how they interpret it. This seems kind of antithetical to the world of video games, where more often than not the player themselves has direct control of the camera rather than the game designer. I mean, some games can have traditional cinematography through cutscenes, but since the player has no direct control over these moments, they might as well be short films that complement the gameplay in one way or another. There are also interactive cutscene moments within games, which are usually called quick time events. And while they can end up being pretty dynamic, the moments they create are strictly designed to be dynamic. Now, a few early 3D games, especially those in the survival horror genre, created this sort of compromise through a fixed camera perspective, which evoked the style of classic horror films. Yet ultimately, all these kind of moments do is force some pretty powerful framing rather than offer any sort of real agency. What I want to talk about here is how developers can cultivate a sort of organic cinematography by motivating the player to look at certain points of interest during key moments, engineering powerful framing not through direct control of the camera, but by manipulating certain qualities, namely level design, lighting, and object design. An easy way to prioritize a certain viewpoint is to create a sort of environmental funnel that constricts the view of a player only to have it emerge into a brand new area, a brave new world that's just waiting to be explored. These kind of moments work best when they are contrasted with a previous environment, creating a dynamic switch in tone and mood that's all the more memorable. One of my favorite examples is in the original Halo, which actually spanning the first level all cooped up in the quarters of this human spaceship, contending with hostile aliens. Once you flee the ship and crash into the Halo ring itself, you emerge from your cramped little escape pod into this pristine valley backed by a beautiful ocean, which is not what you expected at all. It immediately establishes this super unique setting, which set it apart from every other shooter at the time. A similar method is to create a vantage point from which a larger world can be viewed, a common technique in open world adventure games. These views can also be used to highlight specific points of interest, like in Bloodborne. Here you creep up over the cliffside to see this bizarre, washed up creature, which gives you both a sense of mystery while also showing you your ultimate goal in this area. These sorts of environmental design decisions take advantage of perspective and spatial relation so they convey the game's core themes. Within game design, there's a simple rule. If the developers want you to pay attention to something, they'll probably point a light at it. This is typically used to highlight where you should be going or to point out a new game mechanic, yet it can also be used to create cinematographic moments. Designers at Valve know this all too well, and are known to use the technique frequently. This might be as most obvious during a sequence in Portal 2, where your only source of light is the eye flashlight of your robotic companion Wheatley, who literally points at where you're supposed to look. This is also a common tactic in horror games, as since the environments are usually pretty dark, you're naturally drawn to any light sources, which can easily be used for some shocking moments. Sometimes extreme light can work just as well as extreme darkness. In the post-apocalyptic wasteland of Fallout New Vegas, it is understandably dim, so when the neon-lit Vegas shines defiantly on the horizon, you definitely pay attention. Lights are essentially a big sign that demands you to look here, and they're just as important to cinematographers as they are to game designers. What also draws the eye are objects of interest, things that stand out against their normal environment due to their abnormal movement, their peculiar shape, or just their color. Half-Life 2 took this concept to heart when designing the architecture of the Combine, this alien empire that has invaded and conquered all of Earth. The harsh, angular metal of their structures stands out against every other human building, creating this iconic visual of this monumental citadel that just towers over the city. The movement of key elements not only focuses your camera but can also tempt it to move, creating situations where this natural panning effect can be achieved as you follow an object's motion across your screen. These qualities can be manipulated not to just draw attention to the background but the foreground, resulting in situations where objects should be paid immediate attention to. It's an easy way to indicate what's important at any given moment as well as make a lasting impression. It's no surprise that humans are naturally drawn to powerful imagery in art, given our tendency to hang up posters and such that proudly feature it. It is also no surprise that game developers are acutely aware of this, with the new modern trend being in-game photo modes that let you capture screenshots of our game's impeccably crafted environments. Elements like these highlight what makes games stand apart from every other artistic medium: interactivity. Unlike films, which take you on a tour of carefully planned images, games make you an active participant, encouraging you to play a part in creating powerful and impactful imagery. This creates a strong connection that just isn't possible anywhere else, allowing for organic cinematography that sticks with you long after you put the controller down.